Hi, Tim Rutledge here. Recently there's been a headline in the news about a certain Arthur episode that aired this week, and I thought I'd share my thoughts on it with you folks here on YouTube. Anyway, the episode is called... Let me check. Now, the episode is called Mr. Ratburn and the Special Someone. In the episode, Mr. Ratburn announces to his third grade class that he's about to get married. And then later on that day at the Sugar Bowl, Arthur and the friends discover him and another woman discussing the wedding. And they're worried that Mr. Ratburn getting married, supposedly to this woman, would result in him being tougher and giving them harder homework. I don't know. Child logic, really. So they try to call off the wedding, They send an embarrassing picture of him to the woman. They send chocolates to Miss Turner, the librarian, hoping that they end up as a couple. But in the end, it turns out Mr. Ratburn's getting married nonetheless, so they all go to the wedding. They think they might pull the old movie routine of saying, "I object" during the wedding, and then nothing goes on. But then it turns out that the woman is actually Mr. Ratburn's older sister. And he is getting married to the chocolate shop owner, a man named Patrick. And this is where the headlines start up, because Mr. Ratburn is probably the first character in a show for PBS Kids who has come out as homosexual. Well, not really the first. You see, back in the 2000s, there was a spin-off series to Arthur known as Postcards from Buster. One episode of Postcards from Buster involved Buster visiting a family in Vermont. The episode was called Sugar Time, and the family was headed by a lesbian couple. It's not really touched on that much in the episode. Buster makes a comment that, "Oh, that's a bunch of moms." And that's about it. But the backlash from that episode was extraordinary. Keep in mind, this was during the George W. Bush era and No Child Left Behind. There was a whole big palaver about PBS funding, and I think the president of WGBH Boston got fired for that particular episode. And there was even a writer for Postcards from Buster who made a play about it called Dusty Around the World, which deals with a similar concept. Anyhow, back to the subject of Mr. Ratburn. With him coming out as gay, I'm not really surprised. We don't get a whole lot about his personal life on the show or his sexual orientation. After all, he's a third grade teacher. He might not discuss that with his class. All we know about his personal life, he attended Meadowbrook, I think that's the name, Meadowbrook Academy when he was young. And then he has two sisters, older and younger. What's more? And I think the only glimpses into his love life might have been during a fantasy of Buster's when he and Mrs. Baxter get married. Only a fantasy, of course. Then also in the episode of the which season was it? I think it was the 13th season where he was in a dance contest with Miss Turner. Other than that, we don't know a whole lot about Mr. Ratburn's sexual preferences, but with him coming out as gay, it works, I guess. But in the context of the episode, it really doesn't matter. You could have had him marry anybody, and there wouldn't be much different. Maybe different headlines in the news, I don't know. The episode on the whole is pretty lackluster. Just your simple comedy of errors, misunderstanding, etc., etc. But on the whole, I'm not bashing it. You know, there might be a few people who say, "Oh, they're just going to pander to everybody." I don't think that's it. You see, there are a whole bunch of children out there who are the offspring of homosexual unions, LGBT couples, etc. And they probably want something to relate with, to know that they're not so different, and to further understand how differences can add to diversity and make us whole, if that makes any sense. I mean, when I was a kid, I genuinely thought that every couple, it was a mother and father, or a man and a woman. I didn't know much about it. Well, I guess I lived a pretty sheltered childhood. But then, maybe around 4th grade, I discovered that there were unions between men and women and women. And I didn't know what to think, to be honest. But as things go on nowadays, you know, but with gay marriage being legalized in 2009, and with more and more people getting married and starting families, I think it is a good thing that we introduce more same-sex couples into the modern zeitgeist. But these are just my thoughts on the episode. I just wanted to say something so people want to know what I think. But in the meantime, this is public broadcasting is going to be on hiatus for the summer, so I can focus on other things like work. But in the meantime, I'll still be posting episodes of Behind the Railway series, and then I might also do a few video logs and top 10 lists for people curious about anything. I might do top 10 lists for my favorite PBS shows or favorite episodes of Arthur. And then also, for those who don't know, I just started a Twitter page for Captain Rutlidge. I'll have the link posted in the description of this video, and maybe up there if I can figure it out. Then, anyhow, this is public broadcasting. We'll be coming back in either August or September. But in the meantime, feel free to keep in touch. Feel free to like and subscribe and share the channel. Help it grow. And because I don't make any money off these videos, but it is nice for folks to view these videos and maybe learn a few things about PBS programming, both adult shows and children's shows. And with the current financial state that PBS stations are in, I prefer that folks would support their local PBS station than supporting me. I have a job. I can make my own money. Just give all your available support. Give all your available support to your PBS station. That way, I can do more episodes and more video logs about their excellence in programming. Thank you, everybody, and good day.